USA versus Iran. The conflict that could change the world forever. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that oil prices have doubled, flights are canceled, stock markets are crashing, and the world is preparing for another major war. Sounds like a movie? But this nightmare could begin with just two countries, the United States and Iran. How did these nations become bitter enemies? Why has their conflict lasted for nearly half a century? And if a full-scale war ever happens, who would actually win? This isn't just a story about America and Iran. It's the story of power, revolution, oil, spies, missiles, and the future of the Middle East. Let's uncover the truth. The friendship. Believe it or not, the United States and Iran were once close allies. During the 1950s and 60s, Iran was ruled by Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. The Shah had strong support from America. The United States invested billions of dollars into Iran. Modern cities were built. The military became stronger. Iran became one of America's closest partners in the Middle East. But beneath this modern image, many Iranians believed the Shah was becoming too powerful. Political opponents were arrested. Critics were silenced. Anger slowly began to grow. The revolution. Everything changed in 1979. Millions of Iranians filled the streets. The Shah fled the country. Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini returned from exile. Iran transformed from a monarchy into an Islamic republic. America suddenly lost one of its closest allies. But things became even worse. Iranian students stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. 52 American diplomats were held hostage for 444 days. The images shocked the entire world. From that moment, trust between the two countries almost disappeared. Decades of conflict. Over the next 40 years, the conflict spread across the Middle East. The United States accused Iran of supporting armed groups across the region. Iran accused America of interfering in its affairs and imposing harsh sanctions. Economic pressure increased. Cyber attacks became more common. Secret operations were carried out. Instead of direct war, both countries fought through politics, intelligence, technology, and regional allies. The nuclear question. Then came the biggest concern: Iran's nuclear program. Iran says its nuclear activities are for peaceful energy and scientific purposes. However, the United States and several other countries have long worried that the program could potentially be used to develop nuclear weapons. These concerns led to negotiations. Agreements were signed. Some sanctions were lifted. Later, tensions rose again after changes in policy and disagreements over the nuclear deal. Since then, the issue has remained one of the world's most sensitive security challenges: the military comparison. So, what if diplomacy completely failed? On paper, the United States has one of the world's most powerful militaries. It has advanced stealth aircraft carriers, global military bases, satellites, and unmatched logistics. Iran, however, has built a different strategy. Instead of matching America's military strength directly, it has invested heavily in missiles, drones, air defense systems, underground facilities, and regional partners. Military experts generally believe that a direct conflict would be extremely costly for both sides, with serious consequences for the wider region and the global economy. Because of these risks, most analysts see diplomacy as the preferred path. Why the world cares. This conflict is no longer only about two countries. The Middle East supplies a significant share of the world's energy. Any major conflict could disrupt shipping routes, affect oil markets, and increase global economic uncertainty. Businesses, airlines, financial markets, and ordinary families around the world could all feel the impact. That's why governments everywhere closely monitor every new development, the latest escalation. For decades, the United States and Iran avoided a full-scale direct war. Their rivalry was mostly fought through sanctions, diplomacy, intelligence operations, and conflicts involving regional allies. But in 2025, the situation changed dramatically. After months of rising regional tensions, the United States launched military strikes on several Iranian nuclear-related facilities, saying the goal was to limit Iran's nuclear capabilities. Iran strongly condemned the attacks, calling them a violation of its sovereignty, and responded with missile attacks targeting the U.S. military base at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. The exchange marked one of the most direct military confrontations between the two countries in decades. Although the fighting remained limited in duration, governments around the world feared that the situation could escalate into a much wider regional conflict. Why the world was worried. The concern wasn't only about the United States and Iran. The Middle East is one of the world's most important energy-producing regions. Any disruption to shipping through the Strait of Hormuz could affect global oil supplies and increase energy prices. Financial markets, airlines, shipping companies, and millions of people around the world watched every new development closely. Even countries far from the Middle East prepared contingency plans in case the conflict expanded. Ceasefire or just a pause? After the exchange of strikes, diplomatic efforts intensified. Regional governments and international partners worked to prevent further escalation. The immediate fighting subsided, but the underlying disputes remained unresolved. Issues such as Iran's nuclear program, regional security, sanctions, and military presence continue to shape the relationship between Washington and Tehran. Many analysts describe the current situation not as the end of the conflict, but as a pause in a long-running geopolitical rivalry. History reminds us that wars are rarely defined by a single battle. They are often shaped by decades of political decisions, competing interests, and missed opportunities for diplomacy. The story of the United States and Iran is still being written. Whether the next chapter is one of confrontation or cooperation depends on decisions yet to be made, and those decisions could influence not only the Middle East, but the entire world. History teaches us one important lesson. Wars often begin after years of misunderstanding, mistrust, and political decisions, not overnight. The relationship between the United States and Iran is one of the most important geopolitical stories of the modern era. Whether the future brings greater cooperation or renewed confrontation remains uncertain. One thing is clear: the decisions made by these two nations can influence not only the Middle East, but the entire world. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe for more deep geopolitical stories that explain the world beyond the headlines.